like a house on fire. Signing number 2 for this new era. It's Judgment Day, people. Yeah! What did your boy tell you? It was never in doubt. Never in doubt. Don't believe in any love, I believe I'm self-made, yeah. Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe football show. And of course, it's Friday night, which means it is a time for the Premier League preview, the Premier League show. I hope you're all doing fantastically well. I'm not allowed to say that, am I? Sorry, I will stop. Please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in and hit that notification bell. Let's welcome the likely lads. Of course, we'll go first to fresh new haircut. Oscar Marriott, how are you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Matt. I'm doing good. Trying to think as little about Sunday as possible, to be fair. Yeah, man, I'm doing all right. Bit of Champions League footy midweek. It's not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Keeping busy and yeah, looking forward to be back at it on Sunday at the ground. Maybe not so much about the 90 minutes, but yeah, man, I'm doing good.
Yeah, Corey. Keep going from strength to strength. Even won me some money yesterday. I had both teams to score West Ham win, so happy days on that one, mate. How are you doing? You must be doing great.
Yeah, we're doing really good at the minute, mate. I'm personally enjoying it. I think yesterday was probably the first time in a while I've actually seen us compete for more than one half of football or a moment of football. So, yeah, we're going in the right direction, mate. And if we can get a result on Sunday, that's quite big. It kind of feels like we've given ourselves a little bit of a mountain at the beginning of the season, but 3 points there and it feels a little bit more comfortable than it has done. So, yeah, can't complain, mate.
Can't complain.
I wasn't involved in the crowd trouble, by the way. Don't worry.
I've just had a message from one Igal as well. So I think Igal says he's going to come and join us at some point as well. So I expect Igal to pop in. And no doubt, yeah, give us loads of Arsenal prop. But listen, they deserve it at the minute because they're flying and they're a great team to watch. So there you go. It is what it is. We're going to start, though, with probably the biggest, or what was definitely the biggest fixture last season anyway. It's sort of changed this season. But we're going to start with Liverpool versus Manchester City. And I put a tweet out just yesterday and I got quite a lot of people saying, what have you been smoking, Joe? Have you banged your head? All this sort of stuff. Because I have a sort of feeling in the waters that Liverpool are going to beat City, lads. There's nothing from it, and people say, no, it was only Rangers. It's nothing to do with that result. Nothing to do with Salah coming on and getting a hat-trick. I've just got a feeling that they might catch them. I think Liverpool will be up for it. Do you boys think what them people on social media were saying? Have I banged my head? Do you think it's a foregone conclusion?
It's not that outrageous.
No,
Van Dijk hasn't lost a. I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying Van Dijk has not lost a Premier League home game in all his time at Liverpool. Yeah, this is what we're talking about. Yeah. I even saw a couple of funny tweets saying drop Van Dijk for Sunday just to keep the record going, and I found that quite funny. But no, it's not that outrageous. I don't think they will win, but it's not beyond like unthinkable. You know what I mean? But.
Is he gone?
Oh, yeah, isn't he?
Yeah. He went, but yeah, and then that was it. I was like, all right, okay, he will come back. What about you, Corey? Am I being wild there?
I don't think it's that mad of a suggestion that they couldn't get something from it. Look, Liverpool at Anfield, of course, they've got a brilliant record, and there may be glimpses in midweek that, again, A, it's momentum, and B, when you've got a player like Salah that scores goals, and he's a goal scorer, once he starts getting a few, then, and of course, we've sat here and discussed how you can start to implement him into a game a little bit more. I do think City will win it for what it's worth. They obviously go in as favourites, and I think they'll just be too strong for Liverpool, and I still think there are those frailties there. But listen, I thought Arsenal would control the game against Liverpool last week, and they conceded too. So they're still there, they're growing, and they're trying to find that right system, but yeah, I wouldn't write it off completely. It could even possibly be a draw. So,
yeah. And I know I was just saying it's not because Salah's just got a hat trick, but 6 minutes Champions League hat trick. It's impressive. He's had a stay of execution in my fantasy team for weeks. I was planning on getting him out, and then Diaz got injured, and now Reece James got injured, so I had to take a points hit, and I thought I'm going to have to leave Salah. Could that could that Champions League hat-trick Oscar give him the boost that he needs, and could he turn up and cause City problems, or will it just be another, he scored and then he's gone quiet again? Because he's not been the same player this season for sure.
Yeah, I mean, back end of last season, to be fair, second half of the season, I think Mane and Diaz performed a lot better than what Salah was doing, really, if we're being honest. I think Salah's not really been at top form for probably at least half, maybe even a full year, you could say, but I still think you've got to say it's Mo Salah. It's Mo Salah in a big game. Yeah. City, if they're lacking anywhere, it's still maybe defensively at left back, because obviously Walker's out. You'd imagine Cancelo will go to right back. So you're questioning maybe a little bit at left back. And if Liverpool are to win this game, they need Salah fully on it. They need the whole front four fully on it, because they're not going to win the game with a clean sheet. They're not playing that well in that kind of way at this moment in time. They're just basically just playing as open as possible and just hoping to. They're playing basketball football effectively, a bit like Leeds to Bielsa kind of thing, at our peak. And, they kind of got the just rewards for that against Rangers. But, yeah, I think Salah will come good. It's inevitable. But Diaz is the massive loss for Liverpool.
Yeah,
despite winning 7-1, Diaz, I think, has been their best player this season, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. And I was going to say, Corey, obviously Trent's going to be out as well. Do you see that as, I know this sounds mad, but he's almost that a bit of a positive in a sense, because it also takes him out of the firing line as well, because like I was hearing someone midweek say, even when it's not his fault at times and it's broken down further up the pitch, the lightning rod's so huge on Trent at the minute that it's just straight away, where was Trent? What was Trent doing? And I thought, yeah, there's something in that, It's almost like we were joking the other week. It's almost the Harry Maguire effect at the minute for Trent.
Yeah. The thing is with Trent is I kind of feel like he has got Klopp's backing, and I never feel that even though there's consistent errors in there, that's anything to do with his mentality. But I do agree with you that having Gomez in at right back in a way could help them, and perhaps with the way that they play and you play to their strengths. The bigger strength, to be honest, is getting Konate back in there. If you can get Konate and that battle between him and Haaland will be really interesting. But Virgil van Dijk hasn't been brilliant this season. Again, just to give him a bit of protection. So I think that back four of Liverpool, I've heard Robertson maybe fit or kicking around. It's looking a little bit stronger, but I think taking Trent out of there just for Liverpool's sake in this type of game could ironically help him. I mean, how many times we sat here, I can't really remember ever saying that Trent should be out of that team. But this game will be a case of Liverpool trying to control it. They will have to try and control it at some point against Man City, and I think it will just help them out a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't really got much on City other than, Erling Haaland is inevitable, isn't he, really? Let's be totally honest. Obviously, he was...
And KDB. I mean, he's on 9 assists. 9 assists already. It's mid-October.
Yeah. And Foden seems to have gone to another level as well. Jack Grealish is finally turning up as well. He's impacting games. Do you think, does City need to be worried at all, Oscar, with the fact that, Pep's comments on Haaland saying that he was really beat after Southampton and he didn't use him in the Champions League, and obviously there was a lot of talk before the season started about injuries, etc. And he has used him in every... Like, what I find mad is even when they're like 4-0 up and he brings everyone else off but keeps Haaland on. And I wonder if Haaland's the guy that said, like, I want to stay on, but obviously he didn't use him in the Champions League. Do City fans need to be worried from that perspective, or do you just think it's precautionary from Pep to make sure he's firing for that game against Liverpool?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry at all if I'm City. I think it's a good thing, if anything, that Haaland's had a bit of a rest, because he's played that much football. You got to remember, Haaland has got a history of injuries, and you're thinking he did need that bit of a rest, possibly. I'm surprised KDB started, to be honest. And even when they went down to 10 men, I thought maybe that's an opportunity to take KDB off, because he's going to get tired, extra running, playing with 10 men. But no, I won't be worried at all if I'm City. I think the only thing I'd worry about for City is just that left-back situation. I think Gomez looks a good player, but again, you'd probably rather Cancelo on that left-hand side, Kyle Walker. But they might even try and play Akanji out there, on that right back, and put Cancelo in his best position. But I think City, they're looking pretty complete at this moment in time. This is possibly Pep's best City team, you could probably say. I think certainly, I say it's probably gone up another level from last season. Is it as good as the team that went, almost went the season unbeaten and got the Centurions? I don't know, but it's looking pretty unbeatable at this moment in time. And there's the depth as well, man. You know,
they've got to win it all. Do you think they've got to win it all, Oscar?
They've got to be looking to win the Premier League and Champions League.
Yeah,
They have to be. You know, I'm not sure about the other competitions. I don't think they're going to take them as seriously.
No, but like you mentioned the depth there, like they have it, man. They could win it all, right? Like
I think certainly when you look at Liverpool at this moment in time, you know, probably the closest challengers from all of Europe, to be fair, for those titles. You know, you've only really got now Real Madrid, PSG, possibly Bayern, who can stop them from winning the Champions League. Really,
Napoli. You never know. They look different, gravy, Napoli.
It would be an unreal story, but you never know. But yeah, they've got to fancy it this year now. You know, in terms of, especially the way, you know, I can only see them getting past Arsenal. You know, as the season goes on, I think Arsenal can push, but I do think City are going to win this title. You know, we're talking about the ruthlessness. You know, I think obviously Martinelli, Jesus, Saka is superb, but you're looking at KDB, Haaland and Foden. I just think that's another level. They score an assist every single game. If they walk off the pitch without a goal and an assist, they're disappointed. It's a story. It's a story if they don't score or assist. This is how inevitable they've become, and that's 3 players in the team. Defensively, again, Akanji, I think, is one of the most underrated signings, I think, so far this season. I think he's
sort of gone under the radar a little bit, hasn't it?
He's slotted in superbly, I think, into that back line. And, you know, low-key, he's been keeping Diaz and Laporte out the team, and that's that's a difficult thing to do. So, yeah, very impressed by City, to be honest.
Yeah. So, come on then, let's go. I'm going to go for a wild... this is really wild, I know, but I'm going 3-1 Liverpool. It's mad, I know. It's mad as I'm saying it. No, it's serious. I've just got one of them feeling, and I think Salah is going to turn up, and I'll probably be wrong, and that's fine. But I've just got a mad feeling, so I'm going 3-1 Liverpool. Mad, I know. Go on, Corey. What's yours?
2-1 City.
2-1 City. Oscar.
Agree. 2-1 City.
2-1 City. Oh, cool. Right, okay. Let's move on to the next one then. We're going to do Spurs Everton next. I think this, for me, is going to be an absolute bore fest. You've got one of the best defensive teams in the league in Everton. And you've also got, for me, one of the most pragmatic, boring teams in Spurs. 11 wins in a row, though, now for Spurs at home, which is a very decent record. I expect them to win 1-0 nice and easy and come away with 3 points. While we're talking about Spurs, let's welcome in Mr. EGTV, Mr. Igal. How are you, mate? All right?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing? We got the gang back together. How you guys all doing?
We're doing good, man. Do you know what? We were just about to speak on Spurs. No, actually, I'm going to save you. I'm going to leave the Arsenal chat for when we do the Arsenal Leeds game. We'll save it because I want to know how you feel.
Spurs, I already have all my predictions done. I've done it recently, just a couple minutes ago on my own show. Yeah. I think Spurs are going to have a tough game versus Everton. Everton might even take the early lead, but I just think Spurs have too much quality for them, and they're going to win the game at the end of the day 2-1, but it's going to be a close game. And my question to everyone is, are you going to be watching the 5:30 kickoff Tottenham versus Everton? Because in my opinion, at that time of the evening as Saturday, I'm doing stuff with my family.
Yeah, it's like we were just saying there, weren't we, Corey? Like as a spectacle, you'd imagine this Spurs versus Everton game's not the one, right?
No, not at all. I think it'll be just a case of how long it takes Tottenham to break down Everton if they can do it. Everton's defensive record's been very good this season so far. Yeah. So, and Spurs, I think there's a mad stat out there talking about final third passes, and again there'll be an expectation on them to show quality. So. Yeah, I think it will be a boring game. I think Tottenham will probably just get it done because of the quality of the front three, and they can produce a moment of magic. But yeah, I think the Gal's touched on it. It's not going to be an exciting game. Certainly not like Sunday, really.
No, definitely not. And I think if I'm Conte, I don't know if you lads agree, but I think I'm playing Richarlison in this one and starting it because he's that type of player that for me he feeds on the fact that he'll be up against his old side. And that, of course, he'll still love Everton. I think he had a good relationship with the fans, but he's the sort of player that in this one, for me, you start him and he probably comes up with the goods as well. But I think we can all agree it's going to be a bit of a poor game. Just on Spurs, Gal, what do you make to them this season? Top 4 contenders? I know it's not easy for you to say because you hate them, but would you say the top 4 contenders? Nice. an easy.
They're gonna make top 4 easy, but they're probably the most overhyped team in the Premier League, in the sense that Arsenal is playing the way that they thought they were going to be playing. They thought they were going to control games. They kind of don't control any games. They concede possession to every team, and they only get through based on the sheer fact that they have better quality than some of these guys. It's not like they're controlling games. You guys have seen teams in this league that are ready to take that next level. They control games and they dominate teams for large portions of games. Tottenham don't ever do that by design or whatever. I don't think they're a team that's built to win leagues. They're maybe built to win cups, but I don't think they're even going to win the Champions League based on the fact that they have a manager who has a poor record. But yeah, call me biased, whatever you want to call me, but I just think Tottenham are slightly overhyped because they were supposed to be the team that challenged City after Liverpool fell off.
No, I think we all agree. I think we would agree with that, Corey. But prior to the season starting, all the talk was Spurs, Conte. I understood it, but actually, when you watch them, they're so rubbish to watch, and I think, I don't enjoy them, so therefore I don't even want them to do well in a sense. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know, Corey. Thoughts they were a bit overhyped, man, and even the transfers, bro. Like when you consider
speak about Liverpool, because I can see people in the chat already getting at me over what I said earlier.
Why? What were you saying?
No, did you already speak about Liverpool? I'll say
we have, yeah.
What you have?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you in a second.
Okay. I think they're gonna beat City, bro.
I said they're gonna have their most humiliating loss in a long time, based on the fact how City play. And have you noticed they have no midfield? Liverpool have no midfield. What is City's strength? Controlling games through their midfield. And the fact that Liverpool don't have Trent, it's not even a hate. I like Liverpool. I think they're a great club. If I wasn't supporting Arsenal, they're red. I might support them. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, at this moment in time, they are set up for failure going into that game. We all can see who's a better defense, City's or Chelsea, or no, Liverpool or Chelsea or Man United going into their games against City. Who had a better defense? Let's be real. Man United had a better defense. They conceded 6. So I'm just saying it could be a long night for Liverpool. I'm saying 4-0.
Wow. I went 3-1 Liverpool. Wild. I know. Brentford 2-0 up. Even Tony's got his second of the night. Penalty spot. He never misses from the penalty spot. Quite interesting, actually, because De Zerbi, although they've played some tough teams in Liverpool and Spurs, I fully expected them to get a result tonight. But 2-0 down, and Brighton might start to drop. I think they'll be all right. But, yeah, especially after that first performance against Liverpool. But, like you say, not great. Great penalty, though. Tony. Right, let's talk about two teams. Well, I say towards one of them is down towards the bottom. It's Leicester City versus Crystal Palace. I don't know what's happened to Oscar. I better check my phone, so it'll probably be WhatsApping me saying but listen, Corey, we spoke about this run that Rodgers was having or about to have. Some favourable fixtures in the fact that you have Bournemouth, Palace, Leeds and Wolves. Now, obviously, they lost to Bournemouth last week. Crystal Palace, I think, are a good side, and I expect Palace to win this one. He's going to go soon, surely, bro. Like, surely. I know they want him to do well, and I'm just not sure it's going to turn around for him. As good as Maddison's been, the fact that they lost to Bournemouth, like, for me, is running out of favourable ties as well. I do believe Palace, Leeds and Wolves is quite favourable for Leicester. But if he doesn't turn it around and quick, I think he gets sacked before the World Cup. What do you reckon?
I don't think financially they want to pay him out.
No, they don't. No, they don't. But at some point, it becomes a decision, like Corey was saying before, between can we afford to pay him out or do we lose Premier League money? Do you know what I mean?
The problem is I'm not sure Leicester can play themselves back into form, and I think if they were going to do it, they would have beaten Bournemouth and they would have been 2 on a bounce, and then they could have tried to put together a string of results. There's something stale that's gone wrong there. I actually think it's probably a really bad matchup to play Crystal Palace, if I'm honest, and I think they will really, really trouble them. They're causing issues. You look at their midfield. Rodgers, for me, for a long time, to be honest, if I'm being fair, it's been inevitable that Rodgers should really go. And there's obviously a standoff between the club and himself. But it will be, if they continue to lose these games, because at the minute you look at the table, they're actually, whereas I thought, okay, fine, maybe they can make up ground, and I've historically said that the table's quite tight near at the bottom. Actually, there's a little bit of a gap where you look at Leicester and think, hang on a minute, if you start to slip a little bit more, then there is going to be a bit of a panic. I think he gets till the World Cup, if I'm honest, even if they lose the next 2 games or whatever, or they get a draw. But I think the decision should be taken. I mean, he should really go, to be fair. And you'd argue that if you got rid of him before the World Cup, you've got time to bring players in. You can identify players in January. It's quite a good period of time. There's a good enough squad there at Leicester, but look, it's been stale for a long time, and he's a good coach, and I'm sure he'll go somewhere else and be fantastic, but just not a Leicester at the minute.
Yeah,
listen. I don't think this is the game that breaks their back, though.
No.
It's going to be a tight game. If they win, it's going to be a tight game. I don't think this is a game that you could see him getting sacked unless we expect Crystal Palace to blow out Leicester. I don't think that's going to happen.
No, neither do I. I'm just looking at, because we've been talking about it for weeks now. Oh, what a save that is by David Raya. We've been talking about it for weeks now, about Rodgers, when's the time. And I remember talking to Corey and looking at these runner fixtures and thinking, he has to get something there. And this started with a loss against Bournemouth. I don't think they beat Palace. And, I mean, who knows what will happen when they play Leeds. I'm not as confident. But just on Crystal Palace, obviously we played them last time out. They've got some very good players. I mean, we weren't hard to play against in that game when Vieira did switch it up. But for me, I really like Palace, and I fully expect them to go on a bit of a run now. They've got some favourable fixtures as well after what was a difficult start for them. So what do you think, Igal's the aim for Palace? Is it top 10 this season?
I think for them, it's just to try to embed more youth into the squad and try to transform this team from an aging squad that they were to, since Vieira's come into, a younger team with Guehi and some of these guys. But their league position, it's not really going to change. They're not going to have the ambitions to push forward to try to get 7th or anything close to Europe yet. They don't have the quality for that yet. So I think their number one goal should just be try to finish top half of the league. Try to finish 10th and above. Just
on Vieira, do you know if the time ever came that Arteta was to move on, would you look at Vieira as a potential coach of Arsenal in the future?
We're not looking at Arteta.
Just hypothetically, I know. Listen, Arteta's killing it.
If Arteta did move on, I would want to lose Enrique or someone like that.
So you wouldn't be interested in a Vieira, no? Do you not think he's doing a good job?
I think once we move on from Arteta, we can't be going back to a project. We need to go for someone who's going to more or less sustain success for us. Because I'm looking at Arsenal trying to win the league in like a year or two. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what we have to push for. We have to try to push to improve.
It's mad as well. And I want to throw up this comment from the disabled team as well, who said, look, credit to Igal. He's taken some stick from rival YouTubers, but what he has said has come true, and we will let him speak on Arsenal very, very soon. But fair play to Igal, stuck by his guns. Fulham versus Bournemouth. No Mitrovic for Fulham. I think it's, for me, Corey, I know it's really early in the start of the season, but I think this game has the potential for the victor to sort of really sort of progress and cement themselves a bit. I know we're only 10 games in, but I'm like looking at this, and for me, I'd look at it and say the winner of this, because I'm still convinced Bournemouth will go down. I'm still convinced, even though they're doing well, and Gary O'Neill's unbeaten at this time. But like we've said before, he'll get the job permanent, and then they'll start losing. But I don't know. I think this game has the potential for either side to really start to kick on and the other one start to tumble a bit with them both coming up. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, I think it's... Yeah, I mean, they're coming in at sort of different angles, really, aren't they? I think Fulham have obviously not played with Mitrovic. I don't think they played too badly against us at all. I think they're a lot better team than I probably gave them credit for. I know they frustrated Arsenal up until the final minutes of the game, so it's different. I think Bournemouth, if they can win this, I still think it's going to be a long season for them. But if they're able to get 3 points in this game, then they are giving themselves a little bit of a buffer zone. And we've spoken about Gary O'Neill, and again, momentum's a big thing, and the players are clearly playing for him. But irrespective of whether you bring in a new manager or you make new signings in January, just having that buffer zone is important. I think it's more important for Bournemouth than it is for Fulham. Really, I think Fulham will be okay. To be honest, they just got enough. They've got goals in there. Paulini's a fantastic player, but yeah, it's interesting. They've done better really when you look at it on the face of it than I thought both of those teams would do. I thought they would be really struggling. So, and to be fair, they were struggling up until a couple of weeks ago.
I hope Mitrovic is fit for the sake of my fantasy team. I need him back. I hope he scores some goals. But in the grand scheme of things, since they sacked their manager, they've looked a little bit better. I think this is going to be another one of those close games. 2-1 Fulham for me.
2-1, yeah. I think that's either side, really, I think. Right, Man United versus Newcastle. Again, it's one for me, Gal. I can't really call. I genuinely can't call it. I think these two sides, as much as this might pain Man United fans, for where they are currently, I think they're near enough the same.
Bro, I agree with you. But there's one difference. Manchester United are at home. Nothing less than a win is expected. Newcastle are going there with no expectations. They can play freely, knowing that even if they lose, they're expected to lose this game. And it's almost like, I don't know if smaller clubs like Newcastle and stuff would go into any game with the mentality of it's okay to lose. So they're going to go into that game expecting they can win. And I think with the set pieces, the unpredictability of some of their players, like St. Maximin, Almiron's on the form of his life. If you guys don't know, he's playing amazing, and he's going to go up against Luke Shaw on the weekend, not Malacia. And if I was to ask you guys, who's more equipped to defend against set pieces? Who's more equipped to defend against counterattacks? Who's more equipped to do all the things that Newcastle and Manchester United do? Which defense do you think is more equipped to do that? I think it's Newcastle. Yeah. They're gonna set up low, and it's gonna be all on Manchester United to break them down. And that's where I think they're gonna get caught out. Newcastle are gonna take an early lead, and it just depends on if Man United have enough firepower to get back in the game. And that's why I'm saying it's gonna be a draw.
Yeah, I think a draw is a fair shout. Corey, do you think both of these clubs' aspirations this season, and I know Man United fans will be like, what are you talking about? They're very similar for me. Newcastle aren't that far off it already. And really, when you look at the transfer business, they've not done anything crazy. Like, really, I still can't get over the fact that they're using some of these players that were signed by previous managers that were busted flushers, that were just no good. And, the likes of Jacob Murphy and Ryan Fraser, and even Almiron, like you say, is a brand new player, and it's just mad, really, the job that Eddie Howe's done there for me.
Yeah, definitely. We spoke about the squad, and I think one of the questions earlier in the season was, have they got the squad depth to compete and get to 7th place or maybe push 6th? And he's been able to use those players at his disposal to a much better level. Granted, I think Newcastle, without European football, are in well with a shout, to be honest, to competing for that 7th spot. I think there's players at the spine of the team of Botman, Isak, and that are definitely competitive. They are there or thereabouts. I still think Man United are stronger, and the problem with it is it does feel like how quickly do they follow that curve? If they can follow that curve quick enough, then of course they've got the players there to go. And to me, Man United should be looking to get in the top 4. I don't think they will, because I just don't think they're strong enough at all. But I think Newcastle are in a better space, I think, and we don't know what could happen in January. I know Man United, of course, have got a lot of money if they want to spend it, but Newcastle could flex their muscles a little bit if they're near those positions. They can always bring in players, so it'll be a good game. I think Newcastle. I actually think Newcastle will probably be the better team, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them get something out of it.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely have the goal for sure, and it'll be interesting to see how that one goes. Right, now let's talk about Leeds versus Arsenal. We'll come to you first, Gal, obviously. Just tell me how happy you are right now. Not even looking at the game, just the turnaround that Arteta's done, the fact that you're top of the league, you look a different animal right now, Jesus, Zinchenko, etc., etc.
If you weren't paying attention to us last season and our slight improvements, and the fact that we dropped off and didn't get top 4 in the back end kind of masked all our improvements for everybody and made it seem like it was, it's the same team. They've dropped off. But realistically, we made a lot of strides last year. And what we've done this year is we've just improved on them. We've signed players like Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus, who've taken us to a little bit of a different level. Zinchenko right now is starting week in, week out over Tierney, if fit. And then you also have Thomas Partey's importance, but the revelation has been Granit Xhaka. Granit Xhaka has turned into one of the better midfielders in our team and one of the most consistent players in our team, probably one of the best players in the league in his position at this point this season after Kevin De Bruyne. If you make a team of the season, I think Granit Xhaka gets in there comfortably. And finally, this Saliba is the real deal, boys and girls. Anyone who's watching this, William Saliba is the real deal. I genuinely believe this kid is a star in the making. And you can see just coming into our team how he's transformed our defense and the calm, cool collectiveness he has. But yeah, going into this game, we're top of the league. We've scored 9 goals. We've conceded 10 goals, scored 23 goals, top of the league, and we're performing in a way that's sustainable. That's what I love the most. It's not like we're nicking results every week. We're getting lucky. It's sustainable. And I can see this happening for a little bit longer. But yeah, before I bore you guys, into this game, I don't think I had a bunch of the boys talking to me. They're saying 4-0, 3-0. One Spurs fan even said we're going to draw, but I think it's going to be a tight game. I don't know if you guys have that cutting edge anymore. Like Rafinha's gone. I don't see you guys really having that cutting edge, and you guys have been losing a couple of your games recently, coming off poor form. Arsenal away from home to Leeds has tended to been a good hunting ground for us as of late.
Yeah.
And I think we might be able to, me, the key is keeping a clean sheet, come in there, getting 3 points and trying to get out of there as quick as possible. So I'm thinking the team's going to go, especially after playing Leeds, playing Leeds away, after playing Tottenham and Liverpool at home, such high intensity games coming down to this. I'm worried that the guys might not be as up for it, or they might have like a different thing. So I'm checking my players' mentalities to see how switched on they are. And yeah, I'm going for a 2-0 Arsenal win. But because I'm not disrespecting the opponent, I'm finding a lot of people online think we're just going to smash Leeds. I don't think it's going to be that at all. I think we have to respect every opponent we play, especially a team that we're going to be playing away from home after we play 2 back-to-back home games.
Yeah, I think maybe there's something in that. I just think the players that you've brought in now, the likes of Jesus, Zinchenko, what we were talking about, is they won't allow that level to drop. I don't think, but we'll see. I hope it does drop because it gives us a chance, but I'm not feeling confident for it. Corey, as a neutral, how do you see this one, mate? Do you think it's an easy 3 points for Arsenal?
I think it will be very uncomfortable for Leeds, if I'm honest. Yeah. Unfortunately, there may be opportunities to frustrate Arsenal. I think again we've seen it against Chelsea, pressing against those 2 centre backs as good as. And look, it is a very, very difficult task. And I think Mikel Arteta has proven this season that in terms of build up and dealing with pressure, the back 4 or even the midfielders can deal with it. And I think that takes a little bit away from what Leeds can do. You can frustrate them and make it very, very narrow and deep, and maybe it restricts their movement a little bit. But there's just too many things from Arsenal, really. I've been really impressed with my course this season, but even positionally, there are players like Jesus, Odegaard, Martinelli. They're not tepid anymore. The build-up's quicker, it's faster, and I just look at sometimes defensively for Leeds, there are errors in there individually, and I think if Arsenal are able to force those, then they'll get a result. But who knows? I mean, you can make it difficult. It's just a case of. I just think Arsenal they're just too good, really, at the minute, and that goes for against a lot of teams.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think even when I just think about them defensively and how Leeds are going to set up, and I think it will make for an entertaining game. And the reason that I say that is because Arsenal are going to come and impart their style on us. They're going to be the aggressors in a sense, and that will play into Leeds' counter press. It will give us opportunities, and we've seen that with Chelsea. I think the Chelsea result is a little bit in isolation now due to the fact that the manager got sacked, etc. So I'm not really as hyped and as confident about that result as I once was now that we haven't won in 5. But I think when I go through the Arsenal team, I just see that front 3 petrified. Martinelli up against Christensen, petrified. Martinelli, every time he's come up against Leeds as well, he's burnt us. I mean, Ayling ended up 2-footing him and getting himself sent off, and he gave Cody Drameh one of the worst debuts I've ever seen. So he's murdered us. And Christensen, to be fair to him, was great against Zaha, but Martinelli's up another notch for me. And the only chinks in the armour, the only weak points I see is Aronson, Cini, and that actually coming down on Gabriel and Ramsdale. They're the only chinks that I might see we could get something, because sometimes Ramsdale can be a bit wild and his distribution's great, but he will try turn sometimes. And I think with the rate in which we press, Aronson could catch him like he did with Mendy. But they'll be wary of that. And I think out of the back line, Gabriel's the one that I think we could get most joy of. Not Saliba. He'll just turn a man and be away. I rate Ben White.
Nutmeg somebody in the box. I just want to say shout out to somebody in the chat. Hermione Fairy Love. Remember, I told you guys about Saliba when we were doing our pre-show before the season started on here, Joe.
Yeah.
When we were talking about it. Now, I just want to know, do you guys believe the hype now?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Yes, mate.
I was wrong.
Don't you worry. We've waxed lyrical about him too many times. He's very, very good.
Times. Yeah, he is. He is the deal. He is the real deal. Oscar, we've heard from Igali thinks it's going to be a tight affair. I'm not as confident as that. I think we might get pushed aside quite easily, as much as it pains me to say it. But Oscar, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is very, very difficult. You look at it logically. I mean, 5 games without a win for us. Arsenal absolutely flying. I mean, the fact Arsenal are creating chances that will against Liverpool, Tottenham. I mean, such a well-organised Tottenham team. The way they played. I mean, listen, I've said all season, I think Arsenal really are the real deal. And Saliba, I didn't think he'd be this good, I'll admit, but he's definitely been a massive, massive upgrade to that back line. Ben White at right back is just being laughably good. You'd think he's played left and right back his whole career. And Tomiyasu going into left back, Arsenal just looks so solid, as well as being great going forward. Xhaka, I mean, wow. I mean, he's gone up another level this season as well. So it's just, you go through the whole team. I think Gabriel's probably the only point in the team where to say, yes, maybe on a bad day we can get at him a little bit. And it'd be interesting to put Sinisterra over to that side on the right to maybe try and get at Gabriel a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, it's looking difficult, this, mate. It's looking a real push to say we can get anything from it. I think one thing I will say is that I kind of mentioned this in my preview on All These TV. We weren't expecting anything from Chelsea. When we went into that game. We've maybe not quite this bad, but we weren't expecting anything from that, really, logically. And Chelsea played football against us. They played out the back. They wanted to keep the ball. And I think we're a better team without the ball than what we are with it, to be honest. I think we're better. I think we're more of a threat when we're pressing teams. We're on top of teams. And Arsenal will push both fullbacks high. The midfield will push up high, and there'll be space to play into. And we might get the odd moment out of it. But having said all that, you're trying to press Arsenal, but you've got Ben White, Tomiyasu, Saliba, Ødegaard, Xhaka. You can't press them. They're that good on the ball. You can't press them. You're not going to be bothered about a little bit of pressure. So it's looking very, very steep, this one for me, mate. And yeah, I just hope we can put in a performance at the very least, and just some bit of encouragement for the next couple of games, which are absolutely crucial after that.
Definitely. Just a few positives or something to hang your hat on, folks. We have picked up 8 of our 9 Premier League points this season at home. We have only conceded 2 goals at home this season, which is actually the best in the top flight, which I didn't know until I did some research from a preview tomorrow. So that's decent, and we're unbeaten in our last 6 matches at home across all competitions, winning 3 and drawing 3. So that's something to be positive about. But like I said, this Arsenal team are different gravy, so we'll have to wait and see. But if I could take a point now, I'd snap your hands off.
What's your record against Arsenal, my friend? Yeah,
it's terrible. It's terrible. I think it's a hat trick of you scoring 4 goals each game in the last 3. I think 4-1, 4-1, 4-2. So yeah, it's not been great for us. And
Eddie Nketiah might even start this game because Jesus was not 100% before the last game, but now he's fit. But I don't know. We might even give Eddie Nketiah a start, his first league start of the season.
Yeah, against us. Oh, what a save, Ryan. Yeah, I mean, probably play the second string, bros. Play the second string. Give us a chance.
No, we would lose. Partey and these guys are gonna play. It's just
yeah.
Eddie's the only rotation risk.
Yeah.
Everyone else is fit pretty much. Yeah. We got a pretty fit team now right now. I'm happy. Zinchenko's
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised you're happy, mate. I'm not surprised. Let's have some score predictions then. I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. Corey?
3-1 Arsenal.
Yeah. I'm being favourable. I think 4-1 really, but I'm just keeping up appearances. Oscar?
On this one, 2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, and Miguel? You said 2.
I'm going 2-0, and the main thing is take the 3 points, go home with healthy players. That's all that matters at this point in the season.
Yeah. There's no guarantees for Leeds because Jesse likes his aggression. Aggressive. Right, okay, let's move on to Villa versus Chelsea. We were talking earlier on, Oscar, about Everton Spurs. I think you dropped off at that point, and we were saying like it's going to be a boring game to watch. But are Aston Villa potentially the worst team in the Premier League to watch right now? I've seen them a couple of times, and I think they are brutal.
I'll tell you what, it's a close competition between them and Forest. I mean, Forest have got to be up there as well, to be fair. I mean, Forest, when you consider the investment they put in, but yeah, I'd probably say Villa are up there. You know, it is mad how difficult they make football look, Villa. I mean, if you thought we lacked width in our team, you should see Villa. You know what I mean? I don't think Steven Gerrard's ever heard of a winger, to be fair. It just felt like, rather than put like Leon Bailey in the team, they'll put like Watkins wide or something and Ings through the middle. And yeah, they're decent defensively though, Villa. I'll give them that. They are difficult to create against. So you've got to give them credit for that from that point of view. But not going to win any entertainment competitions. And they probably are going to be the team that's involved in the least goals all season, both in their own net and in the opposition's net. I think they're going to have a lot of 0-0s this season. You've already seen a lot of 0-0s or 1-0s for Villa. They just aren't great, are they? But Chelsea, I think Chelsea look really good, you know. I think Chelsea have got that, possibly that fourth spot between them, Tottenham and Man United. Maybe Liverpool. Obviously, Liverpool now, it's not guaranteed for them either. Chelsea are looking good for it, you know. I think Aubameyang, they've signed an elite level forward. Well, maybe elite's a bit pushing it on Aubameyang, but a goal scorer who's just going to score you 20, 25 goals. Yeah, and you got Potter's creativity. They look really good, I have to admit. And Colin Gallagher's starting to really show his top form now in the Chelsea shirt, which he hasn't really done before. They're looking, January as well. I just can't see anything other than Chelsea absolutely wiping the floor with Villa here.
Same. I think it'll be an easy shutout as well. You mentioned Graham Potter. Someone actually put in the comment earlier that you had a Graham Potter glow up as well with your hair. It is quite mad.
I'll take that.
It's quite mad though, the difference in Graham Potter. Like there was a picture of him in his Brighton tracksuit, and then this picture of him at Chelsea. It looks like a Bond villain now, man. It's like he's got all this cash in his head.
Needs to be more sexy.
Top only needs the Insta clicks, mate.
He's got all this money and gone, right, okay, get me to bloody Boohoo, man, and kick me out, man.
He's got a tan now.
I know, yeah. Now he's in London, bro. That's it. Now he's in London. That's it. I think it's mad when you consider that Villa have got Buendia, they've got Coutinho, they've got all these players to call upon, Bailey, etc. And they're just brutal to watch. I think we can all agree that Chelsea batter these. Does anyone disagree? Tight? No? You disagree, Go?
I think it's going to be a close game. What I'm going to say to you is Chelsea have a lot of changes that they're going to be making more games. Reece James is going to be out. That's going to be a tactical change we're going to have to see also. He was out the last game also, but he came in as a substitute at the end. And the final thing I'm going to say is you have Manchester United, Newcastle. You have Arsenal, Leeds. You have Chelsea, Aston Villa. Nobody's watching Chelsea, Aston Villa besides Chelsea and Aston Villa fans this weekend. You already know that. And everybody on this channel, everyone on my channel, everyone who watches football and appreciates football is going to probably be watching Arsenal Leeds because that's going to be the big game at that time during that game. Hopefully, it's televised because you never know with Sky and these guys.
Our game isn't on, you know. Our game's not on Sky. It is. They've gone with the Chelsea Villa one, which I was surprised at as well. Yeah, it's not on Sky, bro.
What's that?
I know, it's mad, isn't it? I was shocked as well. Let me just double check. They've gone with Villa Chelsea instead on Sky Sports.
Just bring us the Premier League flex. Just bring us the Netflix version of Premier League.
I know, yeah, man.
Just
that would
that.
be amazing. Well, it's getting closer because I think the EFL in their next TV rights deal are going to get rid of the 3 p.m. blackout, which means that no other games. So they're going to get rid of that. And once that goes, then I think we'll see a lot more of it. And it would be amazing, wouldn't it? But I'll be watching it on teletext and doing a watch along through reading through teletext and all that. Right, let's move it on. Let's talk about the most informed team in London, of course.
Yeah.
Don't
worry, guys. Fine. Don't worry about it.
Wait, how many wins do you guys have?
Like 4 on a bounce. I think 6 out of 7.
Oh, nice.
In all comps.
Yeah, they're doing well.
It's like the Conference League as well. I've got to have a little bit of light relief after the start of the season. But
try going to 10 out of 11.
Yeah, but listen, we don't spend 200 million.
I'm just joking. Anyways,
Southampton have lost 4 in a row now. You've got to be licking your lips at this fixture.
Do you know what? I'm not, because it's one of them games where we should just walk in there and get a result, and it's 1-0 Southampton and they're fighting for their lives, and Hasenhüttl pulls outside. We didn't actually beat them last season at all. I think they beat us at our place. We drew away from home and they beat us in the cup. So it is a bit frustrating, although I think we are getting now to a point where the team is, yesterday was probably the most consistent performance I've seen in a long time. I think just in terms of build up, the structure of the team. Flynn Downs came in. We were able to rest players. I've got a slight concern with Dawson going off and Bonner going off. And again, I know Tilo and Zuma will probably play at centre back, but a right back Sufa hasn't looked particularly brilliant. But I think there's some real positive elements about the team. I think Paqueta is growing into this side. I think we are giving him the freedom and license to get on the ball and help us build up. And I think if you look at Southampton's press, that'll be useful. Skamaka in himself is in good form. So I'm encouraged going into the game. We should win it, really. Bowen's looking really good at the minute. He was really good last night as well. So we should go and win this. But I don't want to. I just feel like sometimes every time we play Southampton, they're just a little bit funky. So, but we'll see, mate. I think we'll get the 3 points. I think it'll be 2-0 West Ham.
Yeah, I think you'll win as well. Just Corey, Oscar's just switching his internet. He'll be back in a second. Corey, what? I've not seen West Ham a lot this season. Definitely not recently. What does that first 11 look like now? As David Moyes settled on a preferred, first 11, incorporating them new players? Because I know he started the season using a lot of last season's personnel, but Skamaka, Paqueta, are they mainstays now? What does it look like?
Yeah, I think Skamaka's our first choice. I mean, maybe I'm talking out of turn because I know Mickey was injured the other day, or sorry, not injured, but had the flu. But he didn't start at all yesterday, and Paqueta played false 9. So it tells me that he wants to keep him fresh for the league. And obviously Paqueta as well. He's played. I mean, he wanted to get him incorporated, and to be fair to David Moyes, he has started him whenever he's had the opportunity. I know he got taken off against Everton in the end, but those are mainstays. I think Tilo Kehrer has played really since he's joined the club, and possibly going forward once Dawson's fit, you'll see him at right back. But the only one that's a bit, could he play, is Flynn Downs over Souček. But I think you probably afford him the fact that he's come from the Championship and he's got to adapt to the league. But he's been man of the match in every game he's played in the Conference League. So he's...
Oh, really?
He's such a brilliant player. But I think he's a brilliant player for us because I'm not used to seeing a player that's so comfortable in possession. And he will complement Declan Rice really, really well once he's got used to it. But I think he's got the team now that he wants, and I think the players are right. The only one maybe Ben Rama on the left. Again, when he's fit, I think will come in at centre back. But other than that, I think we're pretty settled now.
Yeah. So, what is going on with so Fornells? Is he in or is he dropped to the bench now?
No,
did you mention?
He's in. He loves him. I love Fornells, but it's just about what you want from the team. And listen, last season we didn't have any options to play around with. Now, I mean, Maxwell Cornet's injured, so again, that's another one that you could play on that left-hand side. It's just he has his preferred players. Cress hasn't really put on, to be honest, this season. Fornells, he's a good player. It's just preference. If you're going to play with a 10, Paqueta or Fornells play. For me, you want someone that's a bit more direct on that left-hand side. But I think Moyes himself as a manager anyway, it takes a while to figure out what he wants, and it takes it's a bit of a process. And again, this season we've flitted with different styles. We played with a back three, then we went back to a back four again. I think that team looks good. And whilst people were still frustrated, West Ham aren't brilliant in possession. We just tried to flit around with that at the beginning. I actually think that he gives us the structure, David Moyes, defensively. And then I think you have players like Paqueta and Scamacca that just in terms of a profile of player really help you on the ball. So I'm hoping that kind of carries us through. But momentum's a massive thing, mate. And to be honest, it's the first time, like I say, we're moving past this moment of quality, moment of magic thing to actually we're putting on more complete performances, which stands us in good stead.
Good stuff. And Europe's still the dream, brother, this season.
Yeah, we've done very well. So, and we qualified now. I think we need a point against Silkeborg at home to win that group. We've got to win it, really. I don't want any other silly playoff games. We've got to risk players in and injuries for. So, and then we can crack on. But we've got a squad now, so we can compete in that competition, which is nice.
Nice. Brentford have won the game 2-0, and I forgot that it was Friday, so I did a bit of prep for it. And I was saying, Brentford, maybe second season syndrome is a thing, and now they've won 2-0, and that's gone. So they're going to be sound, which gutters me. But I think we all will agree with Corey and expect West Ham to win that game. Just to finish up, we're going to finish with Wolves versus Forest. Oscar Lopetegui turned down the job. Surprised by that? Because like you say, it's twice now he's done that. I think he's got issues family-wise, maybe reasons as to why he turned it down, but you're surprised. And obviously Nuno Espirito Santo has been linked with a return to Molineux.
Yeah, that's mad. I mean, I'm much more surprised by Nuno, to be honest, than Lopetegui turning them down. Because I think, obviously, it's not gone so well like this season for Lopetegui at Sevilla, but I think really his stock was higher than Wolves, who are kind of like in the 18th in the table and not really looking like they've got the momentum with them. But yeah, Nuno's a really surprising one. It feels like Wolves already kind of accepted that we can't really go for that innovative kind of like expansive manager. We kind of need the results here and now. The quality of the league. I think the quality of the league is absolutely massive this season. In terms of across the league. You're looking at Bournemouth. Who everyone expected to really struggle. They're picking up results every week, Bournemouth, and all of a sudden I think teams like Wolves, ourselves maybe to an extent, Leicester, are kind of all of a sudden thinking we need to kind of get into gear here. Otherwise, you're going to get dragged into it, and momentum goes against you. But yeah, surprised by Lopetegui to an extent, not taking a job, but Nuno, that is a really weird one. It'd be interesting what the Wolves fans' point of view is on that, because they do say never go back, and it didn't exactly go great for Nuno at Tottenham. I don't know. It just seems a bit of a big risk, that to me, from Wolves, and it seems like the type of appointment they're trying to make to not make a risk. But I think that's exactly what they are doing now.
Yeah, it's mad. Just looking at the latest update from Fabrizio Romano to say it's not done or fully agreed yet, and there are other candidates, but negotiations are ongoing. It would be mad. I think it's mad, even madder for me, Corey, that they let. I forgot his name, man. He's just gone. Bruno Lage. Yeah. They let Bruno Lage make these changes at the back and get rid of Cody, get rid of Bolly, and now I think it's just mad, and it's suicide. You know what? It's like, I know I always make this comparison, but I always remember when Stoke got rid of Pulis and wanted to try switch up the style to this, really, and they brought Mark Hughes in and then started buying players like Bojan and all that sort of stuff, and it ended in tears. Though. Do you know what I mean? And I know Wolves are, and they've got the likes of Neves and that, but just shows you, man. Sometimes it's better to stick, isn't it, than thinking, all right, let's change it all up.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know what you mean. I do, and I would have expected some other coach than Nuno to look to take over Wolves and then to progress and freshen it up a little bit. I agree with Oscar on the idea that bringing him back seems a little bit of a backward step, if I'm honest. Does it really resolve any of the issues that the fans had problems with and the club? And listen, I think Wolves, I know they've been in danger a little bit this season, but as a club generally, they look to progress and compete for European spots. So it is a really poor decision. And to be honest, long term, even if he is able to go in there and they revert to a back three and perhaps they feel a little bit more comfortable, I just don't see it having any longevity, to be honest. And how long before it happens again? It gives them a tiny little boost. But I agree with you, very, very short-sighted and probably more of a panic move than anything. So I can't imagine bringing him in. He's gonna look to stay for a prolonged period of time. But then you say that, is it really a right move for Nuno if he's coming back just as a stopgap? I don't know. So
yeah.
I just need to tell the Wolves ownership that there's other players and other managers in this world rather than just Portuguese people, because you can build the team and a game plan around a style of player or profile of player, but ethnicity. They're building their whole brand over just the Portuguese connection. And I think it restricts them from actually getting quality coaches outside of just Portuguese coaches, quality players outside of just Portuguese players. And maybe they just need to look a little bit outside, because this is what Bruno Large, then they're going for this, then they're going back to Nuno. They couldn't find another Portuguese coach. That's why they did it. Let's be real.
Yeah. Get Mourinho in. Just on Nottingham Forest, their owner sacked all their recruitment people just the other week, which is insane. I stand by that. I stand by that thought process that I had in that O'Brien, Toffolo, all these signings were all signed off by Cooper, and then it went mad, and they started getting Serge Aurier and all these other bodies and I think it was like 20 odd players that come in. Oscar, sorry?
When did they sack him?
Not Cooper, the recruitment people, just this week they sacked them all. It's a mad situation, mad ownership, Oscar. And I remember saying, actually, Corey will back me up. I remember saying about Forest going down weeks ago, and people were like, oh, but I think now you give all that.
Standing from the beginning, mate. What this horrible club? What are they playing at? I know.
But no, I think they're going down, Oscar. Regardless of how good Cooper is, I think they'll go down. Gal looks shocked as well by that.
I'm just shocked that they're going to do this whole thing. Their plan, guys, was quantity over quality. They're like, if we can get enough players that look like a Premier League team, maybe we will become a Premier League team. That's what they thought. And the reality is, you're probably better off with a bunch of championship players who know the way that you play and know the system that you've played in, and let them shift them out slowly and gradually, rather than just saying, oh, we have 7 contracts that are expiring, 2 more players that we don't know about, and a bunch of guys that we're going to put on the bench and just sign a whole new 11. That's mental. It was bound for failure.
Yeah, of course it was. From the off, really.
Because my Wi-Fi, I don't know what.
We're all having nightmares with the Wi-Fi here. It's not just me.
I've done all right. God knows how.
Corey's had a
it's just me and you, Corey.
Today. But no, Gal, I mean, what you're saying there about like the established players in terms of from the Championship, I think they came in for the Villa game and, they get a good result, don't they? Well, no, not a good result, but a better result. I think Toffolo played over Renan Lodi, which is just absolutely insane that Renan Lodi you can sign for in the first place. But yeah, the recruitment has just been, it's definitely quantity over quality, and that's been the problem for Forest. But I think it's going only one way for Forest at this moment in time, and I can only see them going down, to be honest, because I just think they're another team that's allergic to wingers. They're just totally allergic to any width in the team. It's Morgan Gibbs-White, Jesse Lingard in behind Awoniyi, or I think Sam Surridge. Did Sam Surridge start on the other game? But maybe that's the way he needs to go. Just go with the Championship players who've got them up there. Just try and grind out a couple of results and see how it goes for him. But I think they're chopping and changing the team too much. It's just, it feels to me like a mini QPR, when under Redknapp and that lot, where they've signed too many players at once, and they're not.
Didn't Mark Hughes come in there as well?
Yeah, he did actually. Yeah. He started it. I'm pretty sure he started it. They just need to appoint Mark Hughes, to be honest with you. He'll steer the ship now. He knows what to do with elite players. But now I think Forest. Yeah, I think if we're talking about like the quality of the league's improved, I think if one team's looking a little bit off it, out of everyone, it probably is Forest at this moment in time. And I just can't believe before the season started, before a ball was kicked, did anyone see Forest out of the 3 promoted teams being by far the weakest? It's mad. It's mad how it's worked out. And really, Fulham and Bournemouth just doing little additions have been the winners so far in that market.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you.
Corey, should just sign Kiefer Moore. That was all he needs to do.
Yeah, man, we've been battering that guy as well, haven't we? And the mad thing is, I actually put Dominic Solanke in my fantasy team last week, and he got 2 assists. So I was like, "Get up, Solanke." Corey, is it a relegation 6-pointer early doors? This one?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, look, Forest need to get results. It don't need to be said anymore. Really, I think it's more. We've touched on it so many times. The amount of players that they brought in at some point, they need to kind of foster a momentum, and it isn't an easy job to that degree. And I think everyone really has a little bit of sympathy with Steve Cooper. We know he's a good coach. It's a massive flux and change of players. And I've said, whilst there are a lot of different elements in it, and look, perhaps you could doubt have they been identified correctly. There's still enough good players kicking in and around there, I think, to get something together. But football's not just played on paper, really. It's all about momentum and form. And if this keeps going on, then he will lose his job irrespective of that 3-year deal. If anything, I'm happy for him because he's managed to sort himself out. If he does get sacked, he's got a nice little payoff. But yeah, it's definitely a relegation 6-pointer. I think it's particularly for Forest. It's getting to that point now where it's danger zone.
Yeah, it's mad as well. It'll be interesting to see what their owner does in January as well, because a lot of the things that I listened to, I think Jim White on TalkSport had said before the season started that he was saying, listen, we're going to push for Europe and all this. And I genuinely think this owner thought with all these players, they were gonna like smash it, really. They were going to smash it. And I think all of us as fans, when it started to get a bit crazy, were like, nah, this isn't right. Like, this isn't normal. It don't work like that. I remember Cellino, for example, coming in Leeds in the Championship and just buying a load of players from City A, City B, and thinking they were going to be able to just smash it in the league. It doesn't work, man. Never has. And someone mentioned in the chat, it's like Fulham when they came up and they did all that. And you consider they had like Anguissa. You watch Anguissa in that Napoli team in the Champions League, he's different gravy. And they had all these players and just couldn't make it work, man. So it's and they had Joachim Andersen, for example, as well. And now look at him at Palace. So just shows you, man, you've got to make little increment gains here and there, not just go wild. So I think they're doomed. I think the game will be a bit boring, if I'm being totally honest. I think Wolves
just a bit boring.
Yeah, true.
Just look at that game, thinking you can see it. It screams 0-0, doesn't it, or 1-0 either way from a set piece.
Wolves have scored 3 goals all season. That is terrible when you consider we are going into our 10th game. 3 goals. It is brutal. Like, can you imagine watching that every week?
No, thank God.
Oh man, imagine 3 goals. But I reckon Burnley would have scored more than that. You know what I mean? They're just a Portuguese Burnley, aren't they? That's what Wolves are. We'll wait and see, though. We'll wait and see if Nuno comes in and see what happens there. But I still, just like the top 4 race, can't really call it. Can't call that relegation. I think relegation's harder to call this year than it's ever been. I think, in memory anyway. If you think back, we had like Norwich and all these other teams this season. You could see. I mean, it depends what Forest do in January. I mean, when was the last time the 3 promoted teams stayed up? I don't know. I wouldn't know off the top of my head, but I bet it's very, very rare. Very, very rare. And if Forest went mad in January, maybe they could, but I don't know. We'll wait and see. But that's all your Premier League games covered. What I want you to do is go on over and check Corey's channel. I want to check Oscar's channel, All Leeds TV, and your F1. I've just seen you tweeting about it.
You're not happy with me, are you?
Have you dropped the video?
Bro. I will get it going, though. Yeah. I will. It's a promise. I will get it going. But
Oscar,
yeah, check it out, guys.
Tweeting about F1, and I'm like, you should be putting that on a video. Igal, me and you will be over on your channel at 11 p.m. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to start earlier. We can start earlier. It's up to you. But yeah.
That's cool. Well, I'll have a break in between. It's cool.
There you go. 11 o'clock.
Yeah, 11 o'clock. I'll be over on Igal's channel, telling him how much Leeds. Yeah, EGTV telling him how much Leeds are going to batter us at the weekend. But yeah,
you can't even kid yourself now.
No.
This is such a sad decline, this, isn't it?
Yeah, but bro, this is the thing though. I genuinely believed under the previous manager, you know this, whereas now I don't, man. I miss him. I miss him. It is what it is.
That much.
Yeah. Oh, serious, bro. It's bad at the minute.
Yeah,
but
I know.
We'll see. If we don't get any wins in these next 4, I'll be like them dudes at Arsenal Fan TV
I can feel it coming. I can
Marsh
feel
out banners.
it.
Marsh out banners. We'll wait and see. He talks a good game. I just want to see it on the pitch. That's all I'm saying.
That's what it is. Have you been to a game yet this season?
Nah, bro. I've just been grinding on the channel. Someone's been getting lucky on my season ticket every game, but it is what it is. I'm not giving it up though, because when Harry's old enough, me and him are going, that's what it is. I need to take my son to Leeds, so that's why that's staying. So anyone who was wanting and waiting on the list, you're not getting it. But yeah, listen, thanks as always for watching the show. Please do smash a like on the video on your way out. I'll be doing a live preview. No, I'll just be doing a pre-recorded preview tomorrow for the game. I put my reaction to Jesse's presser earlier on. Check that as well. And we'll have a watch along on Sunday as well for the Leeds versus Arsenal game. It's probably not going to be a great watch, but we'll give it a try. Thank you for tuning in. Head on over to Regal's channel. I'll be with him later, and check Corey and Oscar's one out as well. And we will see you on the other side, people. Thank you for watching. I'm going to end with the intro because it's easier for me to do than us just like studying normal. Like,
I don't think I do it.
Arsenal started like house on fire.